Live pictures from historic Fort McHenry in Baltimore, one of the backdrops for the Republican National Convention tonight. It's about to get underway in the shadow of huge stories that are breaking right now. A curfew taking effect right now in Kenosha, Wisconsin, as the city braces for what could be a fourth night of unrest following the police shooting of an unarmed black man, Jacob Blake. Tonight, a white teenager is under arrest in connection with a shooting attack on protesters in Kenosha overnight. And this new flashpoint in the fight for racial justice has sparked a boycott by NBA players on the Milwaukee Bucks. That has led to all three of tonight's playoff games being postponed. In addition, the 6 teams slated to play tonight in the WNBA announced they're standing in solidarity and won't play either. The protests spreading to Major League Baseball, with the Milwaukee Brewers and the Seattle Mariners refusing to play their games. I'm Anderson Cooper along with Wolf Blitzer in our special convention coverage. Wolf?
Anderson, we're also following a truly devastating Category 4 hurricane that is bearing down right now on the Gulf Coast. Laura is poised to strike with more power than Katrina and unleash a storm surge that could be unsurvivable. All of this playing out as Vice President Mike Pence is about to get his big moment in the convention spotlight. We're told he will have very tough criticism for Joe Biden in his headline speech and portray Democrats as dangerous for America. The campaign official tells CNN that President Trump will join the vice president at Fort McHenry to honor Medal of Honor recipients and other military veterans and first responders. We're covering it all with Jake Tapper, Dana Bash, and Abby Phillip. Jake, a lot of questions about how much we will hear from the Republicans about what's happening in Kenosha and this new NBA boycott.
That's right, Wolf. We're told that Vice President Pence will address one of those issues that I'm not sure how it will land exactly, given the breaking news. We were told that Pence intends to try to tie Biden and the Democrats to the violence in Kenosha, the arson and the vandalism, despite the fact that just today, Biden condemned, quote, needless violence stemming from those demonstrations. And perhaps more importantly, last night, someone shot and killed 2 people at protests, 2 apparent protesters. What if it happens that it turns out that the killer has far-right or conservative beliefs? Now, we don't know that yet, but with so much up in the air, might that complicate what Pence and Republicans will say tonight about violence? I'm also interested as to what, if anything, we hear from Mr. Pence about the coronavirus on the day that we learned the White House is pressuring the CDC into issuing weaker testing guidelines. Pence is, of course, the head of the coronavirus task force, fighting a pandemic that under any objective measure, according to health experts, the United States has failed to contain in comparison with other Western wealthy countries. And Dana, Republicans seem quite eager to move on from the coronavirus pandemic. Instead, they are trying to focus on law and order.
Of course, because, Jake, they believe that it is one of, if not the driving issue in the battle for votes in the suburbs, particularly women who could be the deciders in this election. And Republicans argue that the violence in Kenosha, Wisconsin, with that as a backdrop to their convention, that it plays right into their law and order message no matter what. And tonight, we are going to hear from the head of a police union that endorsed the president and expect him to say that Mr. Trump is a defender of the police while acknowledging the need to hold bad cops accountable. And of course, Republicans will keep painting Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as anti-law enforcement, which the Biden campaign insists is patently false and a scare tactic. And Abby, this racial justice issue is so potent as a wedge issue, and we're seeing it on display today, this new NBA boycott. And of course, we're going to look ahead to Republicans trying to double down on their criticism of athletes who started taking a knee, 4 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago to the day. And Dana, we expect to hear multiple Republicans denounce athletes who refuse to stand for the national anthem. And they'll try to tie Black Lives Matter protests to the anarchy they claim will unfold if Joe Biden is elected. We know the Republicans are featuring a few sports figures tonight, including a former football player who is now running for Congress in Utah, Burgess Owens. He's expected to hit Joe Biden on race. And tonight we are seeing a stark divide on display in America between the messages being delivered at the Republican convention and the support for racial justice in the sports world. If anything sums that up, it may be this tweet by NBA superstar LeBron James saying, "F this, man. We demand change, sick of it." Anderson?